Hello everybody, it's been far too long since my last layout. I do apologize for taking such a hiatus. I was gone, missed about 4 videos worth of content for you guys, and I'm really sorry. There were a few things that came up in my life and my health that I couldn't ignore and had to step out for a little while, essentially. But I finally got a chance to get back into my scrap room, and so I'm doing a trim your stash video, and I'm starting with the Dear Lizzie Stargazer large chipboard pieces. And my first thought was, okay, so I want to do something fun and whimsical to go with the photos that I'm doing. And I wanted to use purple for sure. And the thing is, I don't have any purple gelatos. So I thought, well, I'll do it in watercolors, which is fine, except I didn't like the colors that I chose. Like I liked the pink, and then I did part of the M in a weird color, and then I had to go over it, and it didn't really look all that great. And then I did that blue and that green, and it was getting too rainbowy. And that wasn't quite what I was going for. I really wanted to stick with pinks and purples and teals and those type of colors. So in the end, I'm really not happy with it. But I'm gonna keep trying to alter some of the colors, and you can paint those with watercolors. It's just you got to be a little cautious because some of the paper can rub off. And that's when I start getting into really ugly colors. And I'm like, oh, it's not going good. Let's just cover it. So what am I going to cover it with? And I just thought I would bring out my Toll paint, you know, my cheap Crafters acrylic paint. Some of them are Martha Stewart products, and some of them are from Michaels. And I did have a purple in that. And it was still kind of up in the air because I really wasn't sure what colors I was going to use. I just grabbed a bunch. And I do change some of them in the end. For instance, that A doesn't stay that color, and that's mostly because as much as it shows up here on the video, it didn't, like in real life, it was not a very bright color. It was a very dull color, and I just didn't like it right next to that beautiful like dark teal and that beautiful kind of lavender purple. So I try to paint it with a different color, and then I think in the end I end up going with almost like a citrus green or something with it. But I'm gonna kind of fiddle around with a few different colors. I think I end up mixing some colors together to get just the right ones. I was originally gonna paint the eye, the dark pink, and then I realized I wanted a contrast between that dark teal and something else. So I'm going to paint that eye a light pink. There we go. And I'm kind of mixing it so they're not all, you know, one letter is a specific color and another letter is a specific color, that type of thing. And originally, yeah, I had this blue and I had it contrasting into this green, and then I realized I didn't like that, so I'm painting more of the A with the yellow. And I'm going to paint more of the M with that blue that I was originally using, which is kind of just like I don't know, like a periwinkle blue. I had to mix a light blue and a dark blue together to get quite the color I was looking for, because I didn't want it so dark. So, I mean, the trick with this was I just had to let it dry in between coats, and I did a few coats of each just to make sure that it was covered. And they're all matte finishes, so it was all fine in the end. And as you can see, I repainted one part so that C didn't have the teal anymore, so I used the teal over there. And that type of thing. So it's kind of a rainbow, but kind of not. It's just a bunch of different colors, and I like how it turned out. I think this is when I decide to kind of go with the green instead and just, I think, get rid of the sea foam altogether, because it wasn't really working for me. I did have to really cut this video up because it was really long. It took a long time for things to dry. It took a long time for me to redo things, and I didn't stop recording when I did it. So I had to really edit out a lot. And I I also had to speed it up a lot, and it's still like the longest video I've ever made, I think. And it was just because I really wanted to show you guys what I was doing and that it wasn't perfect the first time and that I had to go back and change it. And I know anybody else who works on computers, you know, kind of wishes you could just Control Z and undo the last thing you did. Unfortunately, of course, you can't with this, but I made it work after I kind of messed up the first time. So I was thinking, okay, the word magical, I want something a little bit more, just a little something extra. So I have these Martha Stewart, they're glitter glue, and they're a whole bunch of different colors, and I got them on a really cheap clearance. And I just bought them because they were pretty and they're glittery, and I love that kind of stuff. So I don't use them all that often, but I decided, why not take different colors, because I had pretty much matching colors for all of these, and they are glue and they're not the best for spreading. They didn't spread perfectly, but they did the job. And so I used the colors for each one, and that kind of helped when it was drying. Now, if I'd had something that was just like maybe a clear liquid with sparkles in it, I probably would have just used that. But I do like how this kind of ended up looking. So I had to paint, I had to squirt it out and spread it and paint it all over, and it kind of like to move and not sit in one place. And not all the colors are necessarily perfect. Excuse me, guys, I am getting over a bit of a cold too, so my my voice is a little different than normal, a little bit huskier because I'm almost out of the cold, thankfully. But yeah, once it dried, and they did take a little while to dry, so this layout took a long time. It took, it definitely took 2 days, if not a little bit more, by the time I got everything to dry. And I had to do it through the night, and I really don't like filming in the evening just because I don't have great lights. But you know what? I think I'm just going to have to suck it up and start filming at night because I don't get a lot of time in the day to film. So I apologize for the different lighting, but it's what I'm going to have to do to be able to get out all the videos that I want to get out for you guys. So, and I do apologize if you hear anything in the background. People are slamming doors and stuff like that. So I have paper, and it's from Little Yellow Bicycle, and you can kind of see the branding strip up top. And I'm not sure when I bought it, but I know I bought it either before my daughter was born or just after she was born, and she was born in 2012. So it's not super old, but it's not really new either. And I've had 2 pieces of it because it actually, one side was one way and one side was another way, and you could flip them to create a 2-page spread. And I actually was going to create a 2-page spread. But in the end, I only had the 4 pictures, and they were small pictures, so my original thought was that I was going to do a 1-page spread. So I didn't end up doing a 2-page spread. And I know some people really want to see 2-page spreads. It's just, it's not really something I like doing. I don't enjoy 2-page spreads that much anymore. And many of the 2-page spreads I made a long time ago, I have started to convert and redo them as 1-page spreads. Just because they don't always line up in my book if I was going to do it when I'm going to set it up chronologically. So I'm going to use scraps for the rest of this layout. So this is a scrap from Pebbles, and I think it was called Fairy Tales. There was a boy one and a girl one. I don't know if the boy one was called Dragon Tales or something like that. But anyway, it's like so whimsical and cute, and rainbows and unicorns and castles and cupcakes and stuff. And I had a whole bunch of it left over. I have a whole bunch of other sheets too, and the stickers and everything like that. And I am trying to use them up because they are so bright. So I need bright things to go with them. So they are really, it was a really great paper to use. You can see all the colors in the background paper. Like, there's so much to work with. I got the purple and pinks and teals and greens and yellows, and so much that this was a great background paper to use up because it just allowed me to pick anything. And I originally was not even thinking of this paper, but I started thinking, you know, I should really go through kind of my deeper stash that I don't go through very often. And I came across it and I just said, okay, this is a perfect paper for this layout. And then I had the idea to use the big chipboard piece. I've been inspired by so many people using them lately in layouts. So the rest of the layout is scraps of paper from my stash as well. I was really happy to get to use up this, and I really liked this idea. I wasn't sure how I was going to further back the paper, but I knew I wanted to, and I just went, you know what, let's just do strips of paper. And I just ripped them and made sure they were peeking out quite the way I wanted to. That one I had to switch because I realized I wasn't going to see the top and the bottom, so I needed to do the stripes vertically. And I did have to re-tear paper in some cases because either the colors I wanted weren't showing or it wasn't long enough and I had to re-tear it. But for the most part, it worked out perfectly fine. And I really didn't think it through a whole lot when I was grabbing the papers. I just went with colors that I knew were in either my photos or the background paper or part of the magical words. So it all kind of worked out. And I wasn't really picky about any of it. I just knew I wanted to include some purples and pinks and teals and greens. So it worked out really well. And then I have to place them. That's pretty much the biggest part for me, was placing the photos in such a way that they overlapped and they looked fun, but I wasn't losing too much of the photos. And they're of my daughter, and she was wearing this kind of, it was kind of like a ballerina dress. It's not exactly a ballerina dress. And she had this pretty purple sweater over it, and it had a rainbow, and she was dancing around like a ballerina because she's just like obsessed with dancing and stuff like that. So she was spinning around and kicking her legs out and curtsying and doing all this stuff. And so I took a whole bunch of pictures, and I really loved the ones that I used. And I do have more that I could use for it, but I think these 4 really get across the movement and the fun that she was having. So I didn't need to use a million photos, but I could also do even like a half spread or something else on the other side to put in more photos if I wanted to. I knew I wanted to put the magical phrase kind of on the photos. It's not really, it's not covering up too much. I'm not losing anything by putting it up there. And, you know, it's big enough that it's not getting lost in the rest of the photos or the background paper, which is nice because that can happen when you are putting thickers or things like that on top of either photos or a busy background paper. You can really lose the title. So I don't have much of the Chamel Glitter Girl collection just because I have so much girl stuff already that buying even more, it seemed a little excessive. But I did buy some of the stuff that I liked. And one of the things I really liked was the I don't know what you call them, paper clips. And I'm definitely going to use one. And it's going to be that pink unicorn one. I am going to move it from there. And I went into my stash and found the older Pink Fresh Studio, those silver, I think they were from the Felicity collection, or they might have been from an even older collection. And they are silver and with a pink foam underneath. And since the glitter in the unicorn was kind of iridescent and silver, I decided that, okay, that's what I'm going to go with. So I decide to kind of go through my stuff and find anything that had more silver than any kind of like gold or other metallic. Now, because I didn't have any other Glitter Girl stuff or anything that matched that background paper, because I just had the background paper, it was a little tricky, and I didn't want to add too much in the way of embellishments because I didn't need it. There was already so much going on. But, you know, I am that kind of person that does need to embellish. So I decided to pick that cute hot air balloon. I really liked it. And it has an iridescent kind of silver part in the middle, which is nice. And those are from Dear Lizzie Lovely Day collection, which is not the most recent one, but the one I think she did either before or, yeah, I think it's the one that she did before her newest one. And it just said, hey, hey. I thought that was really cute. And the little bunny is also from that collection. And I popped it up on foam so that it would sit over the L in Magical. And I'm just going to kind of haphazardly, I guess, put in that unicorn. And I did have to pop it up on some foam dots because the photos are raised as well. So that just kind of helped it sit permanently where it is as opposed to moving around because the paper clip wasn't holding extremely securely, just because. So I wanted to use some of those Pebbles, I think it's Pebbles, stickers, but they are clear. So just because it wasn't, if it was like a white background or something like that, it might have looked a little better, but it wasn't going to show up too well, seeing that it was a very patterned background. So I do have some of those rainbow fairy tale stickers that I was talking about from that collection with the unicorns and everything. So I'm going to use just a few stickers. The castle I thought was cute. Put in a few rainbows just to bring in that from her shirt. And like I'm not putting any more in. I'm really, really doing a minimal layout with this. But I went through so much of my different pieces of my stash that I hadn't used in a while, really looked through stuff, instead of just grabbing the newest stuff on my desk. Now, some of it is new, obviously, but the rest of it I really kind of delved in. And I found, you can see those little gem filigree swirls type thing. And I just have them in my stash, and I've never used them. Obviously, I have a whole pack of them, and I just thought they're silver. They would be perfect to just add a little more bling to this layout. Without adding more phrases or anything like that. It would just be a little extra something. And I thought, well, I've already got 2 on. Why don't I just use the whole pack? And then it's gone, and I can toss the packaging. So I did. So I just kind of put 2 on the top part and 2 on the bottom part, and my daughter's in the room right now while I was making this layout with me. So she was pretty excited to see a layout about herself. But yeah, that's about it. I'm going to use, I think, the Primrose Heidi Swapp Color Shine to add a little pink splatter. But that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Pictures are coming up. I apologize again for the hiatus, but I am back, so expect more videos. So yeah, bye. In case you didn't know, I have started a Patreon channel, so if anybody wants to help support my YouTube channel as well as some of the scrappy adventures that are coming up, I would really appreciate it. Even $1 a month really helps out. But even if you just like and subscribe and comment, that really helps as well. Thank you so much and have an awesome day.